At the beginning of the story, we are introduced to a small planet called Chiton. This planet is ruled by a ruthless dictator named Admiral Scorba. The planet itself is tiny, with a very low population. Inside a lab, we see a scientist named Jan, whose wife has just given birth to a child. But this isn't an ordinary baby. He's actually the result of an experiment created with incredible superpowers. Soon, Admiral Scorba arrives at the lab because he wants to take the child. He knows that this baby could become a powerful weapon in the future. However, before Scorba can reach him, Jan secretly places the baby inside a spaceship and sends him to Earth. Jan believes that when the child grows up, he will return one day and save them from Scorba. When Scorba finally enters the lab, he finds nothing. He questions Jan about the baby, but Jan refuses to say anything. At that moment, Scorba's daughter Agata steps forward and offers to help find the child. However, Scorba trusts her the least among all his children, so he refuses to believe her. Determined to prove herself, Agata uses her mind-reading powers to scan Jan's thoughts and discovers the baby's location. Since Scorba desperately wants the child, he sends Agata to Earth in a spaceship and gives her a mission. If she wants to sit on his throne one day, she must find the child and report back to him. Hearing this, Agata becomes excited and sets off to complete her task. Both spaceships were supposed to land in the United States, but something unexpected happens. The baby's ship collides with a satellite and ends up crashing in Spain, while Agata lands in America. After that, we see a countryside area in Spain where the baby's spaceship crashes. A couple named Juan Lopez and Maria discover the ship. Since they don't have a child of their own, they decide to adopt the baby. However, this baby is clearly not normal. He's an alien, and strangely, he even has a mustache like an adult. Despite this, the Lopez family ignores these odd details and raises him with love. They name him Juanito. As Juanito grows up, his parents slowly realize that he is extremely powerful. When he starts going to school, his powers and unusual appearance make it hard for him to make friends, and the other kids avoid him. One day on his birthday, Juanito invites all his classmates to his party, but no one shows up. This leaves him heartbroken. Seeing this, Juan and Maria explain to him that if he wants friends, he needs to live like a normal human being. They ask him to stop using his powers. Listening to his parents, Juanito decides to hide his abilities and grows up trying to live a normal life. By the time he turns 30, Juanito, now known as Juan, has a job and lives independently. His boss, Jaime, is also his close friend and often shares everything with him. One day, Jaime tells Juan that a girl is coming in for an interview and he already likes her. He plans to impress her during the interview, and Juan tries to help him out. When the girl, Luisa, arrives for the interview, Juan immediately recognizes her. They went to college together. Back then, Juan had feelings for her. When they meet again, Luisa recognizes him too. She gives the interview, and Jaime hires her, exactly as he had planned. To celebrate, Jaime throws a party, where he constantly tries to impress Luisa. However, she gets uncomfortable and eventually leaves, making an excuse. After she leaves, Juan follows her and meets her at a subway station. From there, Luisa invites him to join her for dinner. While they are having dinner together, a group of troublemakers shows up and starts picking a fight with Juan. Using a cheap trick, they easily knock him down with just a finger, which makes him really angry. But even then, he holds himself back and chooses not to use his powers, and simply walks away. Juan was feeling low and sitting alone at a subway station when suddenly, a metro train lost control. Its brakes had failed, and it rushed through the station at full speed. The train was packed with passengers, and all their lives were in serious danger. Seeing this, Juan decided he couldn't just sit back anymore. He rushed ahead using his incredible speed and tried to stop the train, but even with his strength, it wasn't enough. Thinking quickly, Juan ran to the last station and wrapped a fire hose around two poles, creating a kind of elastic barrier. When the train finally reached there, instead of crashing into a wall, it slammed into the hose and slowed down safely, just as Juan had planned. He managed to save everyone on board. But right after that, he noticed the security cameras around the station. Not wanting anyone to recognize him, he quickly put on a cap and left without showing his face. In the next scene, we are introduced to the headquarters of Chit Technologies, an American company known for making advanced electronic products. The girl who had arrived on Earth years ago, Agata, is now the owner of this company. Even after 30 years, she is still searching for that super-powered child she lost. All the cameras at the metro station belong to her company, and she has secretly hacked all her own devices to track down the child. When Agata's clone robots report that someone stopped the train and was moving at incredible speed, she reads their minds and checks the camera footage herself. However, she can't clearly see Juan's face in the clips, which frustrates her even more. She then orders all her robots to stay alert, saying that they are about to face an ultimate weapon and must find him at any cost. The next day, when Juan goes to his office, everyone is watching the news. It is being announced that a very famous American businesswoman is arriving in Spain. That woman is Agata. Now that she has a lead on her ultimate weapon, she is heading there herself. On the news, she also publicly says that she wants to meet the mysterious superhero who stopped the metro. Hearing this, Juan is shocked. He has no intention of meeting her because he doesn't want anyone to discover his powers. Before leaving, Agata contacts her father, Admiral Scorba, but he scolds her for wasting 30 years searching for the child. Agata confidently replies that she will find him soon and contact him again. After that, she arrives in Spain and orders all her agents to begin the search for Juan. Meanwhile, Juan is on a bus heading to meet Luisa for dinner. Suddenly, he starts hearing a strange voice in his head, which causes him intense discomfort. It turns out that Agata is communicating with him through telepathy. Even though she doesn't know exactly who he is, her powers allow her to locate him. She calls him to her office because she wants to convince him to return with her to Chiton. Unable to bear the pain from her voice, Juan is forced to go and meet her. There, Agata reveals the truth. He was not born on Earth, but actually comes from the planet Chiton, and she has come to take him back. However, Juan refuses to believe her and declines her offer. Agata then reads his mind to understand why he wants to stay on Earth, and she discovers that he is in love with Luisa and cannot leave her behind. After leaving Agata's office, Juan rushes to meet Luisa, who is waiting for him, but Agata's human-like robots try to stop him along the way. Somehow, Juan manages to escape from them and heads straight toward Luisa's house. At the same time, Agata finds Luisa's card in Juan's jacket, which contains her home and office address. Realizing this, she decides to use Luisa as bait to control Juan. For that, she plans to create a robot that looks exactly like Luisa, but she needs Luisa's DNA first. To get it, Agata hacks into the vacuum cleaner at Luisa's office and uses it to collect her DNA sample. While the vacuum cleaner is sending the report, Jaime notices something strange. But before he can react properly, the vacuum starts chasing him around the office. Terrified, Jaime runs for his life and, with the help of 2 cleaners, finally manages to destroy it. However, by then, the DNA sample has already been successfully sent to Agata. Juanito goes to Luisa's house, where he finds her drunk and clearly upset with him for not showing up to dinner. At first, she's angry, but the moment she sees him, her mood changes and she becomes a bit romantic. She tries to take him inside her house, but Juan hesitates. He simply kisses her. Just then, Jaime arrives. He actually came to warn Luisa that the vacuum cleaner had sent her DNA data to someone. But when he sees Juan and Luisa kissing, he feels heartbroken since he also has feelings for her. At that moment, Agata shows up in a car. She reads Jaime's mind and realizes his feelings for Luisa. Taking advantage of this, she tells him that if he wants to win Luisa, he'll have to do something for her. Around the same time, we're also shown a robot version of Luisa that Agata has created. The next day, Juanito goes back to his village to talk to his parents. After everything Agata told him, he wants to know the truth about his origin. Hearing his questions, Juan and Maria take him to the garage and show him the spaceship he arrived in as a baby. The moment Juanito touches it, a hologram activates. In it, his real father, Jan, explains that things had become too dangerous on their planet, so he had no choice but to send him away. Jan tells him that he possesses incredible powers, enough to survive anywhere, and then shares the story about Admiral Scorba and their world. He says that they need Juanito, that he is their last hope, and when he's ready, he can return using that same ship. While exploring the ship, Maria finds a strong, unusual fabric inside. Using it, she makes a superhero suit for Juanito. After learning the truth about his powers and origin, Juanito is overwhelmed. Jan had also mentioned that he could fly, so his parents encourage him to try. They even tell him to jump off a building to activate his powers. But when he does, he fails to fly and gets frustrated. Just then, a group of kids nearby start making fun of his outfit. Annoyed, Juanito reacts. And when one of the kids shows him a rude gesture, Juanito instinctively responds by raising 2 fingers. Surprisingly, the moment he does that, his body starts to levitate. That's when he finally figures out how to fly, using his hand gestures. He begins flying, going far into the distance. On his way back, he crashes into several places, but through all that, he slowly learns how to control his flight. When he returns home, his parents suggest he wear normal clothes over his suit so he can hide his identity and reveal it only when needed. While they are talking, Agata sends the Luisa-like robot to Juanito's house. The robot looks so real that no one can tell the difference. Juanito takes Luisa to his room, where Agata, controlling the robot, tries to convince him to return to his home planet. But Juan ignores all of that and instead brings up the kiss from the previous night. Hearing this, Jaime, who is secretly listening with Agata, can't take it anymore. He grabs the mic and through the robot asks Juan why he betrayed his friend. This makes Juanito emotional. He admits that Jaime is his only true friend and that he feels terrible for hurting him. Hearing this, Jaime has a change of heart and decides not to support Agata anymore. Realizing that emotional manipulation won't work, Agata gives a direct order to the robot to eliminate Juanito. Suddenly, the Luisa robot attacks him. At first, Juanito is confused, not understanding why Luisa would do this, but soon he realizes the truth that this isn't the real Luisa. He fights back and destroys the robot by smashing its head. Right after that, Jaime secretly contacts Juanito and reveals Agata's entire plan. He warns him that Agata is planning to kidnap Luisa to control him. Hearing this, Juanito immediately rushes off to save her. But at the same time, Agata reads Jaime's mind and discovers that he has betrayed her and revealed everything to Juanito. Juanito quickly calls Luisa to get her her location and rushes to her. When he reaches there, he tries to tell her the whole truth about himself, but Luisa doesn't believe a single word. To prove it, Juanito even reveals his suit, but Luisa thinks he's just making up excuses to break up with her and pretending to be an alien. While Juan is still trying to explain, a group of people in costumes suddenly show up and mistake him for one of them, leading to a fight. Taking advantage of the chaos, Agata kidnaps Luisa. After capturing her, Agata uses telepathy to contact Juanito and tells him that if he wants to save Luisa, he has to come to her building. Without wasting any time, Juanito heads straight there. Inside, he finds that both Luisa and Jaime have been tied up, and Agata has already set a trap for him. She knows that Juanito is vulnerable to high-frequency sounds, so the moment he arrives, she activates powerful speakers in the room. The intense sound waves weaken him, making it impossible for him to save his friends. At first, Jaime thinks that praising Juanito might boost his confidence and powers, so he starts encouraging him, but nothing happens. Then Jaime realizes something important. Juanito's powers increase when he gets angry, so instead he starts insulting him, pushing him to get mad. It works. As Juanito's anger rises, his powers grow stronger. Using his laser vision, he cuts through the walls and manages to escape with Luisa and Jaime, taking them back to his village. Meanwhile, Agata captures Juanito briefly and decides to call her father, Admiral Scorba, to Earth. But when Scorba arrives and learns that Agata has failed again, he becomes furious and starts scolding her. This time, Agata snaps. Angry at him, she removes his oxygen supply and kills him. Ever since childhood, she wanted to take his place, and now she finally sits on his throne. With that, she heads toward Juanito's village to finish things once and for all. Back in the village, Juanito decides that he doesn't want to be a superhero anymore. He tells Luisa that if he stops using his powers, Agata might stop chasing him. With that, he throws his suit into the fire, but surprisingly, the fabric doesn't burn at all. Just then, Agata's massive ship arrives, and she steps out. Juanito confronts her, asking why she keeps chasing him and telling her that he doesn't want any trouble and won't go with her to any planet. Hearing this, Agata threatens him. She says she'll destroy the entire planet along with his family, leaving him no choice but to come with her. With that, she presses a button on her chair and it transforms into a giant robot. Seeing this, Juanito rushes to his family and friends, telling them to get to safety. He pulls his suit out of the fire and starts wearing it, preparing to fight. The giant robot, controlled by Agata, marches toward him. Suddenly, Juanito's father tries to attack the robot with a gun, but Agata turns her attention toward him. She activates a vacuum device built into the robot's arm and starts pulling him in. Juanito tries to save his father, but he can't hold on for long, and his father gets sucked inside the machine. Enraged, Juanito launches multiple attacks on the robot, but nothing seems to work. The robot is too powerful, and Agata easily knocks him away, throwing him far across the area. She then turns toward Maria, Jaime, and Luisa, and they all run in fear as she prepares to attack them next. On the other side, Juanito crashes into the middle of a football field. Thinking quickly, he grabs a net and throws it toward the robot, but it accidentally lands on Maria instead. Taking advantage of this, Agata uses the vacuum again and pulls Maria inside the robot as well. Juanito tries once again to stop the robot, but Agata overpowers him and repeatedly crushes him under its massive foot. At that moment, Luisa comes up with a plan to defeat the robot. She sends Jaime forward to distract Agata, hoping it will give them a chance to turn the situation around. Jaime tries to distract Agata, but she quickly captures him too, pulling him inside the robot using the vacuum device. At that moment, Luisa turns to Juanito and reminds him of their first date. She's actually referring to the trick those guys used earlier to knock him down. Then she parks her car right next to a swimming pool and quietly moves away, trusting Juanito to understand her plan. Catching on, Juanito charges at the giant robot, throwing punches and slowly pushing it toward the pool. With one final shove, he forces it forward. The robot's leg hits the parked car, loses balance, and falls straight into the water. As soon as it hits the pool, the system malfunctions, and the massive robot shuts down. With that, Juanito finally defeats Agata. Moments later, his parents and Jaime come out safely from inside the robot. Seeing them alive, Juanito feels relieved and happy. However, his mother reminds him that his real parents are still waiting for him on Chiton. Hearing this, Juanito says that he's not going anywhere. This is his home, but he will take control of everything and protect it his own way. After that, Juanito sends one of the costumed guys along with Agata back to Chiton in her spaceship. When they arrive, the people of the planet mistake that costumed man for their savior and welcome him as a hero. Eventually, he even becomes the new leader of the planet. Back on Earth, Juanito marries Luisa and fully embraces his powers. He becomes a full-time superhero, and people start calling him Super Lopez.